Okay.
Thank you for joining me on another Age of Sigmar lore video. Today we're going to be talking all about Bonesplitterz, my personal favorite army. This is the faction that I run, and I am so excited to bring this to you guys. I'm going to keep it short because I want all these lore videos to be short, but I want you to know that there is a lot of depth in this faction, just like every faction that has a battle tome. So without further ado, let's dig in. If you are from Warhammer Fantasy 8th edition fame, then you would know these guys as Savage Orcs. Essentially what they did was they broke down all of the orcs and goblins into separate little sub-factions, and so this is the Savage Orcs what we're talking about. They got their own battle tome, which renames them as the Bonesplitterz, and a lot of backstory that really brought them to life. So really let's ask the question, what is a Bonesplitter as we now know it in Age of Sigmar? So essentially a Bonesplitter is a Savage Orc, or an orc, that goes crazy with these visions of Gorkamorka. Now, Gork and Mork, as they know it as well. Basically, it's one very bestial, wild spirit. Their sole mission in life is to unleash and harvest and capture this wild spirit that runs through the lands. Now, the spirit is most powerful in the realm of beasts, so Gur. However, it is permeated throughout the mortal realms. They believe that the best way to access their god, Gorkamorka, is through the hunting of great monsters. So they are all about killing monsters. They have all kinds of rules that are focused on the monster keyword. They get all kinds of amazing benefits and abilities when they fight monsters. So try to imagine if humans believed the best way to commune with their deities was through hunting, the most colossal animals on the planet. That's essentially what you're looking at. Once they kill the monster, they take out its bones and its heart and all kinds of things that are infused with the power of the monster, and they put them in their flesh, they put it on their body, they wear it like armor, they sculpt weapons out of it, and so it increases their power as they go. The heart and soul of every Bonesplitter tribe or warband, however you want to say it, is the WAAAGH prophet. Now this is essentially an orc that has a direct communion through visions with their deity, Gorkamorka. And it's really interesting because in Warhammer 8th edition, the shaman and magic users were always kind of looked down upon, but in this scenario, or in this sub-faction, they're really revered as the leaders. These guys are the guys who can scan the horizon and just sense the spirit of Gorkamorka in beasts. So they pan around and they point a direction, they say, there's something big that way. And so the entire tribe goes and starts hunting this thing. Now there's a lot of allusions to the jokey, humoristic nature of orcs, in that what they perceive as visions we might see as, a dust bowl. Tumbleweed rolls in a certain direction and it's like, oh, it must be going towards a beast. And so they run after it and go insane. So it seems like nothing to everyone else, but to them it is direct communion with their god. So you get a whole tribe of kind of amped up, they're in a perpetual state of WAAAGH, that like the screaming visceral action that orcs have always done. They're like stuck in that mode, running across the mortal realms through all different realm gates and things like that, hunting the biggest prey that they can find. That's not to say that they're limited to beasts, but it is certainly at the forefront of their minds as they go and set out to do these great hunts and walls and things like that. So we know about their leaders, the WAAAGH prophets, but how does an orc become a Bonesplitter? Well, basically, if you are an orc from any tribe, any upbringing, there's a lot of ways to become a Bonesplitter, and none of them you can do yourself. You can't will yourself to become one of these guys. Whether it's through a sharp blow to the head, being struck by lightning, hit by some kind of magical force, no one really knows, but something triggers inside an orc that lets him all of a sudden see the power of the wall, like this influence of Gorkamorka through the land. He sees it and craves it to the point where he kind of loses all sense. So for example, if an Ironjaw, right, a very heavily armored orc gets this fever over him, he will just go so nuts that he just has disregard for his own safety. His armor will start falling off. He'll start paying more attention to the prophet than anyone else ever should, and he'll just get wrapped up in this insanity and then start following and become a Bonesplitter. Your base guy is called the Savage Orc. He is, trapped up in the spirit of the WAAAGH. It's something that he pursues on a daily basis. He's always hunting, always looking for the next big kill. He wants to get that power, those bones, those totems enraptured in himself. And we learned there's different levels of being infused with this power. So there's, like we said, the orc, Savage Orc, and then there's also the Moor Boy, which is right above him, who they're kind of like stuck in a perpetual state of WAAAGH, like to a next degree. They're just like super insane all the time, almost what we would know as like a Khorne Berserker type thing, where just like perpetually ready for a fight. Not that he would turn on his own guys very easily, but it's kind of the mode he's stuck in. So the feel of the army is that there's just perpetual aggression, and they're always hunting the biggest, baddest thing that they can, which in the Age of Sigmar, where there's like extreme fantasy monsters, there's big as mountains, like literal mountains. There's one of the god beasts, his fingers are a mountain range, things like that. Like these kinds of things make a faction that is solely based upon killing them and absorbing their power extremely fascinating. Just as a couple of fun notes here, the Bonesplitterz really have a grand fascination with the Seraphon, the Lizardmen, because they kill their beasts, but they can't figure out how to harness the power of them because they just turn into stardust or whatever Seraphon do. Likewise, they really love the Stormcast Eternals. I say love, they love to fight them, because when they die, they turn to lightning and flash away. So not that they really want them as trophies per se, but it's a fascinating thing when they can't capture that power that they just should have been able to harness. Now, the Battle Tome does a really great job of giving some beautiful artwork as well as digging into the backstory of these guys. I think it does a great job of balancing the humor that should be around with orcs and also the seriousness of how vicious these things are. It toes that line really, really well. They're endearing, but they're also not like pillow-fisted. One of the things I love about the Bonesplitterz is that when they're described in these stories, they're not described so much as another competing faction in the mortal realms. Like they're not like this Stormcast Eternals are trying to like conquer lands and reconquest and be the saviors. Ironjawz are doing their own thing, but they're very militaristic about it. What I love is that the Bonesplitterz are described very much like a force of nature, right? Like nothing really controls their path. They just kind of rampage through things. Like animals will just migrate out of the way because they feel that they're coming. So it really gives this cool flavor of you're not playing a consistent army, you're playing a force of nature, which I think is really, really fascinating. It gives you cool narrative reasons to be in weird places and fight weird things, things that didn't really make sense in the old world to be fighting and doing and being at, and it gives a really great feel for the army. If you're interested in going more in depth with this army, I'm going to go ahead and post a link in the show notes to a 4-hour review of the Battle Tome that Dave Whitetech did on his show Garage Hammer. I really hope that you would subscribe to him. He has a new YouTube channel as well. And if you like this video and want to know a lore question of your own, go ahead, click subscribe, leave it in the comments below, and I'll get right to it. Thank you so much for watching, and happy wargaming.